Start reading. Oh.
Chapter 19. No! Jason's voice was raw with emotion. That sounded raw. Then, with the force of a megaton blast, he understood what he had just done. A scream wailed up from the bottom of his gut. No! Wow, this is taking this story way more serious than I would have thought it would. Falling chunk of ice just missed his head. Come on, let's get out of here! He heard Alex shout. Come on, let's get out of here! He heard Alex shout. There we go. Jason wheeled around. You lied to me! He said. That was Fred, or at least there was some of him left. Some hope! But now he's... More ice and soil spat towards them as a wall suddenly collapsed. Alex grabbed Jason by the wrist. Later for that! This place is caving in! Jason realized his friend was right. Fred was gone, and now they had to save their own lives.
Fred was dead. And then there's Fred. He's dead.
Drop dead, Fred. They ran out of the door and into the outer room. There, blocks of ice. Blades of ice were raining from the roof like oversized sleet. What? Frickin' rain. Oh yeah. Anyway, what a way to go! Impaled on an icicle. It was getting hard to maneuver. The ground was covered with piles of debris. Jason fell, then Alex. The outside door was now 20 feet away. Alex moaned, "My ankle!" Jason pulled him up. He put an arm around his friend's shoulder. Hey, lean on me! When you're done! Together! Oh, that's not cool. Together, they began hobbling to the door. But it was too late. A refrigerator-sized chunk of the ceiling fell in front of the door, and Indiana Jones hopped out! Great, Alex said. Now what? Jason opened his mouth to answer, but he was interrupted. What now? Do you think you have a choice? The force of the plutonium boss's voice alone was like a dynamite blast. I don't know why I use that inflection, but whatever. Jason and Alex were flattened against the door. There wasn't time to think. Then Jason and Alex were lifted off the floor. Flattened against the door, lifted off the floor. They hovered in the air. As if supported
covered in the air
by invisible hands. What the was all Alex could say before he and Jason began to move. Through the air, through the walls, through tunnels, at blinding speed. They passed through every level, every room, all the robots, all the enemies they had faced now stood motionless, silently watching Jason and Alex speed by. Shoo! Whee! They shot towards granite walls, steel walls. Each time they covered their heads, but when they passed through, they didn't feel a thing. Somehow they were being protected. They were traveling in another dimension. They were being saved for something. And when they stopped, they had an idea of what that something was. Standing before them was the plutonium boss. Welcome, my human friends. You are made of tougher stuff than I expected. Skin and bone, apparently. Eh? I thought you were made of clay. Anyway, up close, the voice was unbearable. Jason covered his ears and dropped to his knees. He couldn't look. Part of it was the brightness, so intense that it seemed to burn through his eyes. But mainly, Jason was shielding himself from the very appearance of the plutonium boss. The first underboss had been a hideous, boiling mass of nuclear matter. The others had been horrible mutations of pet animals, but they were nothing. In fact, compared to the plutonium boss, they were almost beautiful. B-E-A. Through through slitted eyes. Jason forced himself to look at his nemesis, as at the monster who had destroyed his beloved Fred. I was going to say friend, but that also works. They both work.
His beloved friend Fred. Yeah.
First, there was the head. A head the size of a building. Two huge muscle lumps were where the eyes should have been. Fleshy folds rippled down the center of the head, ending in a gruesome mouth surrounded by hordes. The mouth was in constant motion, dripping.
It's the thing on the box art.
Oh. Sending out sparks. There was the muscular body of the curve outward with a glistened, gnarled feet clutched the ground with wide, sharp claws. What's the matter? The Plutonian boss taunted, fire spitting from his mouth. You do not find me attractive! Am I not beautiful unlike the others? You fought. Get away from me! I'm a nerd and not even I would date that!
Are you making shit up
Yes.
now? Okay.
I hate rats! Jason looked at his friend. Rats? Where do you see? Silence! The Plutonian boss cut him off. I must admit, I underestimated you humans. You have proven to be much, much stronger than expected. What you did was a feat of courage and cunning. Perhaps you are now afraid that your journey is in vain, that I will simply vanquish you right now. But you are wrong. I intend to reward you. Jason and Alex exchanged uneasy glances. For this honor, I have chosen only one person, rocking from foot to foot. I don't know why I'm reading out of this book. Rocking from foot to foot, the Plutonian boss stepped aside. Jason and Alex both froze. Neither of them had paid attention to what was behind the Plutonian boss. Now they saw. It was a white, curved wall stretching out and away from them on both sides of what looked like miles. In the center of it was a giant metal door covered with gauges, switches, and pipes. And then the Plutonian boss said, "We're getting steampunk on this, bitch!" Let's see.
You did not actually say that.
You did not actually say that. That's right. They don't know what I'm saying, what I'm making up.
Well, it's a scholastic book for kids.
Yeah. Yeah, he did not use the word bitch, everyone. I think I can assure you of that.
He's not, what's his name?
Chained to one of the pipes, looking haggard and exhausted, was Eve. Jason, she said, her voice hoarse. He is a rat to Alex. He is. To Alex, to me, he's a horrible flying.
Is something
It's
wrong?
still Eve, I guess. There's another quote. I guess it's still Eve. And he is a rat. He is a rat. To Alex. To me, he's a horrible flying predator from Signar L. To you, he's something else. The Plutonian boss actually has no form visible to the naked eye. He takes the shape of... Oh, was this like a... Okay, not exactly like Ghostbusters. That was like someone you chose.
Yeah.
He takes the shape of something that he knows will... Oh no! I know what this is! It's Boggarts from Harry Potter. That's what those creatures do. They take the shape of that which you fear, or whatever.
So apparently Jason fears whatever the fuck the box art thing is supposed to be.
Is this just a book thing?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I figured it was just a book thing. Form. Jason didn't know what to say. Was she real? She had to be. The Plutonian boss had no need to fake him out anymore. He turned to the boss and drew his gun. You rotten coward! Jason, no! Alex shouted. He'll kill us all! Jason ignored his friend. He fired. The plutonium boss took the full force of the laser blast. Nothing happened. Them was no color change. I think that's supposed to be like there or something. No scream of pain. Be simply okay, getting a few mistakes in here. Be simply opened his mouth.
Yay!
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that's he. Anyway, out flew a brilliant flare of light. It shot directly towards Jason's hand. The gun went flying away and clattered on the floor. Yee! Yay! Jason looked down at his hand. It was untouched, except for a slight black mark where the gun had been. The plutonium boss's laugh once again assaulted his senses. Yep, that's an assault to your senses, all right.
I try.
A peculiar way to show gratitude, especially after I have deemed you worthy to test my new creation. What are you talking about? Alex stammered. The structure before you is my cyclotron. What the fuck is that? Whatever. With it, I will be able to accelerate my plans for the Earth. No more waiting around for eons like I did at Signar L. I will be able to create enough atomic energy to wipe out the planet immediately! He roared with self-satisfaction. However, in my haste to build it, I have not been able to test it adequately. I need a few volunteers. Say 3.
3?
Yeah.
There, I said it. What do you want?
Let's see. Count me out! Alex snapped. Just point me to the nearest blowhole and I'm out of here! Exit stage left!
I'm out of here.
Suddenly, Alex began moving towards the cyclotron. Not walking, not running. His feet were dragging on the ground, as if he were being pulled. Hey! Alex's upper body struggled to throw itself in the opposite direction. What's going on?
I said, hey.
This is how he brought you here, you dummy.
I said, hey.
I'm moving on my own. This has never happened to me before.
What's going on? And Jason's like, never quit your day job.
What's going on? Jason looked down. The same thing was happening to him. His eyes widened with terror as the cyclotron loomed closer. Suddenly, some of the switches at the door started to move by themselves. A whirring noise began. A red neon sign flashed. Cycle beginning. The dull green glow around them diminished. Even the plutonium boss seemed to become a duller red color. The cyclotron was sapping the energy of the entire underworld. The radiation from the walls, the power of the robots, all of it was being drawn to the white machine before them.
Oh, of course, it has to be a white machine.
All of it was collecting inside the door. No! No! I'm sorry, Jason hasn't said anything in like 2 pages. No! Jason and Alex shouted. Oh. No!
No!
Shouted as they were being drawn. They were drawn closer, but there was no defense. In seconds, they would be ripped apart without a trace. Oh, hey, look, it's the boss they already beat in the book.
Yeah, because the book reversed Area 7 and 6 for some reason.
Yeah, anyway. Jason, look! Jason, look! Eve screamed, clinging to the pipe for dear life. Look at the boss! He's using his reserves of nuclear power to start up the cyclotron! Of course! Alex yelled. What else can he use? There's no electrical outlets down here. Well, he's got a point. But he needs the power for himself, too! Eve answered. He's nothing without it! Look at him! Jason glanced over his shoulder. In the room's dim light, the plutonium ball seemed to be flickering. Just for a split second, he glowed brightly, then sputtered. Jason looked downward. Despite the diminished power, he was still being dragged along. Not as strongly as before, but strongly enough to prevent his escape. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw his laser gun on the ground. It was only about 5 feet away. If he could only tear free of the boss's hold. With his every last ounce of strength, he threw himself towards the gun. There was a dizzit sound, a breaking of some sort of force field. Jason hurtled through the air. He landed inches from the gun. Instantly, he was jerked back up again. The invisible field was pulling him with double the force, but his fingers were now wrapped around his laser gun. You are wasting your energy, the plutonium boss called out, his voice half the volume as it was. You are wasting your energy. The plutonium boss called out, his voice half the volume it once was. Those bullets have no effect on me.
Hey, Mark. Ball 2.
Whoa. Nice.
Except there's no way to deactivate it.
I see. Maybe not on your dinosaur face, Jason said. He swung the gun around towards the cyclotron wall, but pointing it at a spot near the boss. But it looks like your great invention is made of Earth materials. He took careful aim. Pew! 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 A large hole ripped open in the cyclotron wall. The plutonium boss fell to the ground with a resounding boom. He began. He began sliding towards the hole. The cyclotron's energy was pulling him in. Grrrg! His scream made Jason's skin tingle. Jason,
Kalupa!
Jason, Alex, and Eve all fell limply. Eve's chains had vanished. They were free. He's using his own energy to save himself, Eve said. Let's run! A sudden explosion tore up the ground, inches from their faces. They spun around. Die, you insects! The plutonium boss shrieked. Die, you insects! I can't do shrieking. That's not me.
Die, you insects!
There it is.
Well,
That is one of my major weaknesses. I cannot do high-pitched voices. Both you and Vols are capable of it, though. 3 pulls into the guitar.
I'm just capable of loud.
Yeah. Oh, you can do high-pitched. Push, push, push. Push, push, push. Push, push, push. Jason, Alex, and Eve dove away. Scrambling to his feet, Jason pointed the gun at the boss. His shots hit their mark. This time, the boss let out a cry of pain. Wow, you're pretty good at that.
That's nothing.
The cyclotron's power was picking up. The boss flailed his legs helplessly. Green and yellow sparks discharged from the pores of his skin. As he slid towards the hole, he left a trail of glowing purple slime. You cannot escape! The boss said. 3 more energy orbs burst out of his mouth. Jason shot them, deflecting them in midair. The boss was now at the hole. He swung his legs around. He braced them on either side. The suction of the cyclotron pulled at his face body. stretching it, making its horrible features even more grotesque.
Excuse me.
He pulled against it, letting out a furious howl. I could just hit the damn. Then, with a sickening pop, the plutonium boss was sucked inside. There was no time to feel relief. The cyclotron began to rumble furiously. There was a high-pitched squeal.
Wait. Hold up.
That's better.
That's what I was trying to do, but then I had a random cough. High-pitched squeal.
A sign on the door flashed. Malfunction structural damage! Huge chunks of stone and dirt began falling around them.
English.
During my time on Earth, I studied your human languages.
Okay.
For some reason, I don't know. I'm like Brainiac or something. I like taking in information occasionally. Whatever. Huge chunks of stone falling. Here we go again. It's mixing up my nerd voices.
Whoa! I like. Oh
Alex,
wait, I've already been here.
Alex cried out. Here we go again! This is for real, Jason said. That thing is gonna blow! Let's get out of here! Alex yelled, grabbing his two friends' arms.
Mark, if I'm on the ceiling, then what is that thing attached to?
Side view shenanigans? Anyway.
That's side view shenanigans, that's about right.
Yeah. Let's get out of here. Eve pulled him back. She looked him in the face. Sweat was pouring down her brow, making rivulets past her bloodshot eyes. There's no place to go. There's no place to go! Don't you see? When the cyclotron explodes, the world goes with it!
You could have told us that earlier.
Chapter 22. Sudden burst of energy rattled the entire area. The cyclotron was chugging, wheezing, popping, shaking. Well, that's a lot of ing. The ground shifted and vibrated. Jason was seeing double. His stomach was turning.
Jason was seeing double. 4 cyclotrons.
I love Simpsons. I loved Simpsons. Well, I love old Simpsons. Anyway, moving on. There was only one thought in his mind. One thought only. We set out... no, that's wrong voice. We set out from this world, and now we're destroying it. Struggling to keep his balance, he walked towards the cyclotron. What are you doing? Eve shouted. Shutting it off! How? Alex said. I don't know! Jason was at the door now. He grabbed a lever and pulled. A wild pinging noise began, making the machine shake even more. The next instant, Alex was by his side. You're making it worse, he shouted. Alex began yanking levers and pressing buttons left and right. Eve joined them. I guess they're all just fucking with the machine that's gonna destroy the Earth.
Oh, nothing bad can come from that.
This is like opening up a bomb and just cutting a bunch of different cords.
Sometimes you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Yeah. Making it worse. Eve joined them. Together, friendly with a pull, jab, turned. The machine churned even more violently. It sparked and spewed gases. Then an explosion ripped another hole in its side. All 3 of them were blown backwards. They landed in a heap.
15 feet from the machine, the sign on the door flashed. Overload, overload, overload. Jason braced himself for the end of the world!
It's the end of the world as we know
We're
it.
really close to the end of this story. When he opened his eyes, he saw Alex and Eve hunched on the ground. They were covering their heads, waiting. The air was filled with flying debris and thick smoke. Piles of rock and metal littered the ground, but something was different. Though through the smoke, he peered in at the cyclotron. The bright sign had stopped flashing. He got up, picking his path carefully. He walked towards it. There was rumbling, but it was distant. It wasn't coming from the cyclotron, or was it? He was a few feet away from the door now. He brushed away the smoke with his hands. The gauges all rested at 0. The lights were out. The beeps were silent. The cyclotron was dead. He turned around and yelled at the top of his lungs, "We did it!" He ran back to Alex and Eve. Both of them were straining to see him. We made the cyclotron! How did I lose my place that easily? What the fuck? I was right in the middle of fucking reading it.
We made the site. We did it.
We did it! He ran fast. We made the cyclotron. Yeah, there it is. Okay. We made the cyclotron burn itself out! Jason said. It's off, kaput! There was silence for a moment. Silence that was followed by the loud crack of a collapsing wall. Mud gushing out towards them.
Hurry up and finish because I'm already at the entrance to the next area.
Okay. And so are we, Alex said. Eve grabbed them both. Follow me! The three of them ran, making their way through the surrounding chaos. Eve took them through the smoke-filled tunnels, doors that had... don't do that. Had been blown apart. At the end of one corridor, a metal door remained tightly shut. Sophia the Third is in here, she said. Alex shook his head. No, Jason and I left it. It's in here, Eve insisted. The plutonium boss was a loudmouth. He told me all of his little secrets, like his plans to turn Sophia the Third into his own underground pleasure vehicle. I've read a lot of weird shit in this book, but this is one of those times where I have to say, what the fuck?
I think they mean like taking it for a joyride, not what you were thinking.
When he brought you to the cyclotron, this room is where he brought Sophia the Third. Step back, Jason said. The others obeyed, and he blasted the door open. Sure enough, Sophia the Third was sitting
Actually,
there.
it just says Sophia Third.
Yeah. Was sitting there waiting with a solid chunk of granite on its hood. Wait, what?
On his hood.
On.
It should be its hood.
It should be its hood. They're saying it has a gender.
or her hood, actually.
Yeah. A solid chunk of granite that had smashed its engine. Jason's heart sank, but Eve just ran up to the hood. Help me, she said. There's an auxiliary rear engine, but we'll go faster without this thing. With every ounce of strength, the three of them managed to push the rock off. They jumped inside, and Eve started the spare engine. It let out only a meager whine. But it worked. Eve steered out of the room. Do you know how to get out? Alex asked. Up, Eve said. Other than that, beats me. They zoomed through a jagged hole in a nearby wall. They emerged into a cavern Jason recognized. It was level 4. Concentrating on every detail, they were able to retrace their steps. Level 3 was empty. Mud poured through holes in the wall, and short-circuited robots were flailing on the ground. Level 2 was unrecognizable. Twisted remains of the metal walls lay on the ground like shipwrecks. Level 1 was by now a churning pit of lava and slime. They raced through the final tunnel and into the chamber where Jason had first met Eve. At one end, Jason could see the bottom of the blowhole chute. Who's reading this? Okay. Let's see if we still have some of that weapon power, Eve said. She reached over and pressed hover gauge. Sophia Third left the ground. It shot into the chute and slowly rose upward through the blowhole. Around them, the side of the hole trembled. Jason looked up. There was daylight. It was far away, but it was there. Behind them, the blowhole was caving in. Its walls were bursting, spewing soil and rocks. Eve kept her fingers on the hover gauge, but Sophia Third was slowing down. I don't know if we're going to make it, she cried out. I can see the surface! I don't know why I read that like, I can see the future! I can see the surface! Jason replied. Just hang on for a little longer, please! I don't have any control over it, Eve shot back. And she was right. With a sputter and a groan, the hover power died. In fact, the entire vehicle died. They seemed to stand still for a moment, and then they plunged towards the pandemonium below.
Alright, well, next time we're finishing this.
Both of this.
Yes, all of this.
See ya next time. See ya next time.